Let's dive right into this explainer with a scene that completely shatters how we usually think about human logic. Picture this. A guy is cornered in a dark apartment. There are literally 150 police officers outside. Bullets are just tearing through the walls. But here's the strangest part of the whole thing. In his final desperate moments, he didn't write a confession.
Nope, he actually wrote an excuse. Imagine that. He's sitting there writing a blood-stained letter while bullets are literally shredding the room around him. And it wasn't an apology at all. He wrote, "Under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm." This was Two Gun Crowley, a notorious cop killer, and he genuinely, firmly believed that he was the victim.
And it definitely wasn't just him. Just take Al Capone, easily America's most infamous public enemy. He actually said, "I have spent the best years of my life giving people the lighter pleasures, and all I get is abuse." I mean, think about that. Capone, a completely ruthless mob boss, literally saw himself as a public benefactor. It really reveals this terrifying truth about us. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, wants to be the villain in their own story.
Now, this whole paradox brilliantly illustrates the core thesis from Dale Carnegie's legendary manual on human engineering. Because the truth is, almost everyone you meet today, your boss, your biggest rival, even the person who just cut you off in traffic, they all see themselves exactly the same way Crowley and Capone did. They completely justify their own actions. They firmly believe they are in the right. We always assume people are driven by these rational, cold, hard facts, but man, the reality is just so much more complex than that.
So let's look at Section 1, the modern problem, ignoring the human element. We live in this society that is just completely obsessed with data, hyper-fast technology, all that stuff. We'll spend years in universities studying business, marketing, finance, complex engineering, yet we completely fail at the one single skill that actually controls all of them, which is people.
And what's really staggering here is the hard data backing this up. Studies from the Carnegie Institute of Technology reveal something wild. Even in highly technical fields, your financial success actually has very little to do with your raw intelligence. Let that sink in. A massive 85% of your success comes down to human engineering. So your people skills, your personality, your ability to lead. Only 15% is your actual technical knowledge. At the end of the day, almost everything comes down to how people feel when they are around you. Which brings us right into Section 2, Idea 1, the feedback loop. So let's look at why our absolute most natural instinct, that knee-jerk instinct to criticize someone when they mess up, is actually completely broken.
Okay, so the famous psychologist B.F. Skinner actually proved that an animal rewarded for good behavior learns way faster and retains it much more effectively than an animal that's punished for bad behavior. And guess what? The exact same thing applies to humans. Criticism is basically a boomerang. When you attack someone's ego or you wound their pride, it doesn't fix the problem. It just breeds resentment and instantly puts them on the defensive. Really powerful, effective people, they don't try to win arguments with logic. They try to win outcomes through emotion. They truly seek to understand the motive.
This naturally leads us to Section 3, Idea 2, the hidden hunger. Because if logic isn't driving people, well, what is? There's actually a psychological craving that runs way deeper than survival, deeper than money, and even deeper than success itself.
That deepest urge in human nature, it's the desire to be important. The philosopher John Dewey literally called it the desire to be important, while Sigmund Freud called it the desire to be great. It is the one specific thing that differentiates mankind from animals. I mean, it's the reason George Washington wanted to be called his mightiness. And honestly, it's why people buy houses that are way too massive for what they actually need. The reality is, most people walking around today are emotionally starving for this feeling of importance, all while pretending they're perfectly fine. But I do want to give a stark warning right here. Do not confuse satisfying this hunger with flattery. Seriously, flattery is counterfeit currency. It is fake, it's selfish, and it comes strictly from the teeth out. People can smell it on you instantly, and it will absolutely ruin your credibility. But genuine appreciation? Now that is unselfish. That comes from the heart out. Sometimes just one sincere sentence of appreciation, really noticing something someone did well and sincerely praising them for it, can echo in their mind for years. It's literally like sunlight for the human spirit.
So let's shift over to the real secret of influence with Idea 3, the bait. Why is it that we walk into conversations completely obsessed with our own goals? We constantly talk about what we want, our problems, our targets, and then we sit there wondering why the other person is totally tuning us out.
Dale Carnegie had this brilliant analogy for this. He said, "You don't bait a fishhook with strawberries and cream just because you like strawberries and cream. The fish couldn't care less what you like.
You use worms. It's such a simple idea, but almost nobody actually lives this way. The absolute fastest way to get someone on your side is to just stop trying to be interesting and start talking in terms of what they want. If you can show them how to get what they desire, you're going to have the whole world with you.
And let's see how this builds directly into idea 4, the silent language. A massive amount of communication happens before you ever even process a single spoken word. People absolutely feel your energy the second you walk into a room.
There's this great story from a veterinarian who described his waiting room as always full of these tense, bored clients, right? Nobody's talking. Then this woman walks in with a 9-month-old baby. The baby looks over at this really grumpy, distraught gentleman in the corner and just flashes this massive, genuine smile. Instantly, the man smiled back. Soon enough, he started talking to the mother, then the whole room joined in, and the entire emotional temperature of the room just completely transformed. A genuine smile tells someone, without a single word, "Hey, I like you. You make me happy."
But consider how rare this outward vocus actually is. 3,900. That's a big number, right? Well, a New York telephone company study analyzed 500 phone conversations just to find the most frequently used word. Any guesses? It was the personal pronoun I, used 3,900 times. I. We are just relentlessly self-obsessed. We always look for ourselves first in group photos, and we secretly think our own toothache is more important than a massive famine across the globe.
So, to break out of that trap, you really need a totally different playbook to become an unforgettable communicator. You've got to become genuinely interested in others. Be an attentive listener. Encourage other people to talk about themselves. Because here's the secret. You don't become unforgettable by talking about yourself. You do it by making others feel unforgettable.
All right, moving to section 4, real-world impact. How does all this actually apply to you tomorrow morning? Because deploying these psychological shifts isn't just about making pleasant chit-chat at parties. No, this transforms your entire career trajectory, how you lead your teams, and how you handle that daily friction with your partner, your kids, or your coworkers. You really have to burn this idea into your mind. Humans are not creatures of logic. We are creatures of emotion, absolutely bristling with prejudice and entirely motivated by pride and vanity. The exact moment you stop fighting people with logic and actually start validating their emotions, they finally feel truly understood. And the second they feel understood, they instantly stop resisting you. It is honestly like magic.
Let's bring this explainer to a close with section 5, the final verdict. Now, I know some people worry this sounds like a bag of tricks or like sneaky corporate manipulation, but it's actually the exact opposite. Flattery and manipulation are fake, and they literally always backfire. What we're really talking about here is a profound, empathetic awareness of the invisible rules governing human nature. It's a completely new way of life. So, I'm going to leave you with this provocative question to chew on. Are you spending your life trying to control others, or are you finally ready to understand them? It's time to stop kicking over the beehive just to get some honey. Start genuinely appreciating people and try looking at the world through the eyes of those you want to influence. Apply this hidden code today and just watch how quickly the world opens up for you.